Hi, I'm Marcel and welcome to Herding Bits in my wonderful little studio on the other side of the world. Today I've got some productivity tips for you that you can use in Visual Studio Code or in any other IDE that supports a VIM extension. We'll be looking at text objects, motions, and I'll show you some of my favorite commands that you can integrate into your development workflow. Now, if you don't know what VIM is or why you should learn it, please check out my Why You Should Learn VIM video. I'll keep a link in the description below. Also, if you plan to be a full stack developer, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. And with that, let's get into the video. Here we are now in Visual Studio Code, and the first thing we want to do is make sure we've got a VIM extension installed. To do that, head over here to the marketplace, which is under extensions. We'll click on that. At the top here, type in VIM, and the first search result is probably going to be the plugin we want. It's called VIM Emulation for Visual Studio Code. And just to confirm, it's going to be the one that's got over 3.6 million downloads. So that's the one you want here. Once you've installed that, you may have to restart Visual Studio Code to pick up any changes. And once you've done that, what you will see is down the bottom here, you'll have this little indicator indicating which mode of VIM you're currently in. And to see that more in detail, let's go over here and open up a little example file in index.html. So as I said before, you're in normal mode. Normal mode is the mode VIM uses for you to move around the documents and do quick little modifications and not necessarily generate new code. Now that can seem kind of strange when you're first using the extension, and an escape hatch for you if you just want the normal VIM behavior, the normal Visual Studio behavior, just press the I key. And what happens down here, you'll see it now changes to insert mode. And for all intents and purposes, Visual Studio Code will mostly behave now like you'd expect without the extension installed. Okay, but let's just go back here and press escape. Now, you might have just seen it popped up control semicolon. That's just because I've remapped my escape key to be control semicolon. That's just a little productivity tip that I use for myself, just to be a little more efficient. So whenever you see control semicolon, just think that I just pressed the escape key. Okay, so the first thing you want to consider is text objects, and text objects are nothing more than the constructs that we'd also use in language. So you've got characters as the basic unit, and then sets of characters are words, and then sets of words become sentences, and then sets of sentences become paragraphs, and so on. Now, VIM's got many text objects, and I encourage you to check out the VIM help to find out what they all are. Pick out some useful ones, but essentially the important ones are characters and words, and that's probably more than enough to get you started with the extension. Now, the thing to know about text object is that they can be combined with motions and commands to do all kinds of cool things within VIM. First one we want to look at is character motions, and character motions you'll be familiar with already without really knowing it. And all character motions mean is you're manipulating one character at a time. So the basic ones, obviously, if I'm pressing the left arrow, that's a character motion that moves the cursor left one character. Then right arrow goes right, up goes up, down goes down, and typical thing you'd expect to be doing in any editor. And these are character motions, so that's quite a simple thing. Where it becomes interesting is that you can combine motions, any kind of motion for that matter, with numbers. And so if I was at the beginning of a line, say, and I wanted to move 10 characters to the right, I could actually type in the number 10, so 10, and press the right arrow, and that'll make the cursor move 10 characters to the right. By the same token, if I wanted to move up 5 characters, I can just press 5, press up, and then I've moved up 5 characters. And you can do that with most motions and most commands. You can prefix them with a number, and then that command or that motion will be repeated that number of times. And we will see how that'll play in once we want to paste or copy or delete and do all kinds of stuff in VIM. So that's kind of a really nice thing to know about that. Okay, so that's character motions, and the more useful one is probably word motions. Clues in the name. Word motions move words at a time. And the most basic one is W, and W will always move one word to the right, always pause on the first character of the word. So every time I press W, you'll see I move one word along and always pausing on that first character. Now, if I wanted to reverse and go in the other direction, to go to the beginning, that's B. And if I press B, you'll see I now go to the left. And again, VIM will stop on the first character of the word moving to the left. Of course, I can also go to the right and stop on the last character of the line. That's the E key, that goes to the end. So every time I press E, VIM will move one word to the right and pause on the last character. And of course, if I wanted to go 2 words to the right and pause on the last character, I can press 2 and the letter E, and then you see I've just skipped 2 words. And that's really all there really is to know about motion. So once you know text objects, and there's many text objects, then you can always combine them with numbers to have these motions, and that's all that's really to that. Let's now have a look at some Vim commands without diving in too deep. And let's say we want to change that title there for lorem ipsum to something else. We just jump up to the lorem ipsum part, and Vim gives us this change command. And change can be combined with something called inside. So you can change text inside tags, inside inverted commas, inside curly braces, inside normal braces. And let's have a look how that works. So C for change inside tag. And Vim has now deleted all the text inside that title tag, and it's added that text into Vim's internal clipboard, into the register. But it's also down here, put us into insert mode down there, which means I can now directly type some text in there and say, this is cool. And now escape back out. Once I've escaped, I'm back down here in normal mode. Now what Vim has done also, it's now remember that macro that I've changed text inside a tag to be this is cool. And if I want my heading to be the same as my title, let's just jump down into our heading down there. And if I press the full stop, Vim will actually repeat the last macro that I entered. So just full stop, and there you go. It's just completely applied that macro straight away into that tag. And that's something that's pretty cool. And as I said before, you can also change stuff inside inverted commas. So I use that quite often when I'm doing development in HTML, where you want to change attributes. So if I want to go up there to the UTF, for example, I want to change that inside to something else. So it's changed inside, and this time inverted commas. And you can see it's now allows me to put some text in there. Now, of course, in Vim, if you want to undo something, you can just press U for undo, and it reverses something. The final thing I want to show you, just, because we just want to show you a sense of how you can combine motions, text objects with commands. And a good way to look at that is also a command to uppercase and lowercase stuff. And I use that quite frequently if I've made a mistake with a constant and I haven't capitalized the constants to quickly capitalize words. Let's have a look how that works. Let's say I want to make this cool uppercase. The command for uppercase is G capital U, and then that's followed by a motion. So let's do that. So G uppercase U, and I want to do the word, so it's W. And you see I've now uppercased that word. Now, if I wanted to do two words by the same token, I can go to the beginning of this word is cool. And it once again do G uppercase, two words, and I've now uppercased those two words. And by the same token, if I now go up to this and I press dot, it'll just repeat that last thing. And that's how you can kind of combine various motions and text objects to do all kinds of powerful things. So that's just some of the things I wanted to show you. Before I leave you, I'll also show you how you can yank text into the keyboard and paste it, because that's something that's also quite useful. Let's say we wanted to repeat the H1 several times. So let's once again go down to the H1 there. And if I use a capital Y, it'll yank an entire line. And that's now in my clipboard. And if I wanted to paste that 5 times, I press 5 and P, and it's now pasted in 5 times. So this is combining various Vim commands with motions and text objects. So I encourage you to have a look at the motions and the help. Also look at all the text objects. I hope this video has encouraged you to try out the Vim extension for Visual Studio Code. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel to get more full stack developer content, and I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.